Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we are making the super cute mason jar candle holders you would have already seen in the thumbnail. I was asked to do these on Facebook. Someone linked them to my timeline, and you know what? I believe it was Naoka. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. I'm pretty sure it was Naoka Smith that linked them for me. But everybody commented, and I asked if you'd like to see a tutorial, and you said yes, so I thought I'd do it. Now, a lot of, not a lot, but some of the people had suggested that I do it without using vinyl, meaning not with the Cricut. So I'm not going to do this one with the Cricut today, but I'm going to tell you this. The part I'm about to do right now, if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette or any of those machines that are electronic cutting machines, you can do the part I'm fixing to do here with those machines and save yourself some time. But if you don't, I want you to be able to do this project just like everybody else. So here's what I did. I went online and I found these leaf templates, and I just picked the one that was in the shape that I liked. I like this kind of wide across the bottom leaf, and I did two different sizes because I'm not sure what size I want on my bottle. I bought this bottle at Walmart, and I got it because it didn't have any of the mason jar markings. I kind of like it not having the markings because I think it'll show up really well. But if yours has markings, don't worry about it. Do it anyway. It'll work out just fine. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is cut these guys out. And I just, like I said, I printed these in two different sizes. And I just searched fall leaf template. I think that's what I searched. Fall leaf template. And just found the ones I like. So I'm going to cut these out. We'll get right back together. While I'm cutting, I want to tell you, if you're doing this on your Cricut or electronic cutting machine, what you'll do is cut this on any vinyl you've got, because we're just creating a stencil. So if you have some vinyl that even is messed up, or you've made a mistake with something, use some of that. Or like if you have some printable vinyl and you printed something maybe that didn't work out, you didn't throw it away. You could also do this with just transfer tape. If you can cut your transfer tape, you can do it that way as well. All right, so when I get this finished cutting, I'll show you what's next. I ended up only cutting out the one leaf and not the smaller one, because once I looked at this on my jar, I realized this is the size of the leaf that I want. So I'm only going to cut this size of my template. So I'm happy with that. Now I want to show you what I'm going to do. This is transfer tape. This one is made by Cricut, and it was in my stash, so I didn't have to go purchase it. But I want to tell you, if you don't have vinyl in your stash, you can go to the Dollar Tree and just get one of the rolls of contact paper. Just that really, obviously inexpensive $1 roll of contact paper, and get this same project done. Now, you could do this with just your paper. You could just put some double-sided adhesive on the back of your piece, stick it down to your glass, and then paint around it. But I think you will get a better result if you go ahead and do it with something like this. And since you can pick it up for $1, I would certainly try to do that. And you know, these will be something you want to keep in your fall decorating for a long time. So spending $1 to get a roll of contact paper, that's not terrible. You may have some contact paper in your stash. Something to where you can stick this piece of paper down all the way to the edges on your jar. The biggest reason for that is this edge of this leaf is very frilly, very ruffly, and you want that to be very pronounced, or at least I do. So I'm going to trace 3 of these leaves because I'm going to do 3 jars. Then I'm going to cut all 3 of them out, and you and I will start the project together. Okay, so here's what we have going for us. I have 3 of the leaves cut out with the transfer tape or contact paper, and then I have my paper template. Now I want to talk to you about if you only have paper and you want to do this with paper. You can use a double-sided adhesive, or if you have a Tombow, which is a mono multi-glue, or if you have a Zig 2-way glue, you can coat the back of your cutout with your 2-way glue or your mono multi, which one you have. Let it dry till it becomes tacky, because that's what that glue is created for. Then you can just stick this down to your glass and use your paper. I'm going to use these guys, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay this jar here so that you guys can see it. It's going to be hard because it's clear. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this transfer tape off. Now you've seen that I'm making candle holders. I don't think I said it, but these are mason jar candle holders where the candle peeks through this leaf shape, which is really cute. And what I want to do, this jar is not exactly round, which is good. I like it kind of being that way. I'm going to put this leaf somewhere in this area, just like this. and I'm going to stick it down nice and tight. Now I will tell you, before I did anything to this jar, I cleaned it with some alcohol. The reason I did that is because the paint I'm going to use suggested that I did. So this should stick really good. Now here's the thing, because we're making these leaves and we want these little edges to show really well, when you adhere whatever you're going to do for your pattern or for your stencil down, make sure you get those edges down really good. You'll get a better image that way. So make sure you have that adhesive all the way out to the edges. Alright, so I'm going to leave that one there and do the other two just like that. Now you can see that our jars have our leaf shape and they are ready to go. So I'm just going to start with any one of them. First I want to show you the paint I'm going to use. This is the Waverly paint that they sell at Walmart, the chalk paint. Now there's a difference between this and chalkboard paint. This is chalk paint, which means it has a chalk finish and it'll paint just about any surface without needing priming or anything. Chalkboard paint is a little bit different, so make sure you pick up the one that says chalk. Now I read the back of these, and because I'm painting on glass, here's what it says. It says, for glass, clean surface with alcohol. Clean any other surface with a window cleaner. So if it's not necessarily glass, just other surfaces, use a window cleaner to clean it. Then it says apply this, use 1 to 2 coats, and let it dry 2 hours between the coats. Look at these colors I chose. They're yellow and orange and brown, and I think they're going to look really cool. We're going to start with the orange because that's my favorite fall color. And I better shake these a little bit because I haven't even tried to do that. So I'm going to shake them up before we get going. You could stir them too if you wanted to just stir them. Now I've put down a layer of wax paper here to protect my surface. I use this all the time. This is what I use for a craft mat. It's the wax paper from the Dollar Tree. It's super cheap. It's not something I'd use in my kitchen because it is just really thin and flimsy, but it works perfect for a craft surface. Okay, so the color I'm going to use is called Pumpkin. That's the one we're going to start with, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a sponge brush and dip it into the paint. Now you could probably spray paint this. I don't know if they make a chalk finish spray paint. That'd be something to learn. They probably do. To get the best result from your stencil, start your paint on your stencil and pull off away from it. Don't pull to the stencil. When you do that, you kind of force the paint under the edges, and we don't want to do that. So you want to start in the middle and pull away from it. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go all around away from this leaf, kind of sealing in my stencil, but also getting a nice crisp edge around the leaf. Pull away from it. Don't rub to it. That's part of the trick with using stencils. Now, this is not exactly a stencil. This is more of a, it is a stencil, but it's not like you're having a whole bunch of little holes you're filling in. So it's best just to start on it and pull away. Now your first coat is not going to be beautiful. It's going to be streaky. It's glass, so you're going to see through it. And I'm going to paint each one of these exactly like this. I'm going to let them dry in between 2 hours or whatever it takes for it to be totally dry. I don't know if it'll take 2 hours in the humidity we have here. It could take even longer sometimes because it's so wet here. So, all right, I think this is really pretty paint. Aren't you amazed at how well it goes on glass, even being the first coat? I am always amazed at how chalk paint does. I just think it's stunning. Also, if you don't get a perfect paint job around the neck, don't worry about that because we're going to decorate that edge too. I am going to take my brush and run it around the very mouth of the jar because I want that to be colored as well. Alright, I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the other 2 jars using the 2 different colors. Now, here's what I'm going to do with my paintbrush. I'm going to use this again in a couple of hours. So I'm going to take some of my wax paper here and I'm just going to wrap this in the wax paper. And as long as I do that, I'll be able to come back to this same brush and pick right up where we left off without having to clean it out or waste a brush. So I'm just going to do that, and that will keep it wet until we get back to it next time. So I painted the jars and I gave them 2 coats. And the second coat I did not love. The second coat almost peeled off. It almost seemed like it was peeling away as I was doing it. The third coat was better, but I still don't love it. However, I'll say this. I'm okay with it because it's kind of a rustic looking craft. It's not a perfect paint job, so I'm okay with that part of it. Now here's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid because I had to do so many coats of paint that this is not going to peel off well, so we'll see how that does. I thought I'd go ahead and start while this was still a little damp on the last coat. So maybe I can get this off without it ruining anything while it's still a little damp. So I'm just going to pick this up and see if I can get it started coming away. And I'm just going to take my time. Yep, I don't like it. It's going to It's peeling away funny. So here's what I'm going to do. I thought this might happen. So I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and I'm just going to run it around the edges of my stencil, just to sort of separate it from that paint. I hate that I'm having to do this, but this paint just really sealed down tight. And I don't want these to peel the whole paint off. And I'm afraid if I wait till it dries, it'll do that even worse. So just running around it, taking my time. This is going to take a little longer than I'd hoped because I'm having to do this, but that's okay. Alright, so I've run around the whole thing with the X-Acto blade. Now I'm going to try to remove it again, and this time hopefully we'll get a clean removal. It's much better this time. Much better. So let's just see how this goes. I like that. That looks very good. Now, it is not perfect, so I'm going to take my X-Acto blade and just try to clean up anywhere where I messed up or anywhere I don't love the way the paint looks. I'm just scraping some away in some spots. And it looks like I had one or two places where it kind of bled through. I'm just going to clean that up too. It cleans up pretty easy. Now remember, my paint is still a tiny bit damp, so I'm trying to stay out of it. So I'll come back after it's good and dry and do a little more cleanup. But that looks pretty cool, huh? I'm going to do the same thing to the others. Just take my X-Acto blade, run around the edge of it to loosen that stencil, and then pull it out. So the yellow one's cut away, so let's see if we can get it off pretty easy. Not cut away, but I went around the edges of the leaf. This is the fun part, the peeling off, except for how messy it is. Again, I did not let it get completely dry on this last coat because I wanted to be able to cut through that as easy as I could. They still look good. There's a little cleanup I have to do, but it still looks pretty good if you ask me. I'm pretty happy with it. All right, let's do the brown one. I'm going to peel this guy off too. And there it is. I really like that. All right, because they were a little bit damp, I'm going to let them sit and dry, and then I may go back and do a little cleanup around the edges like I did on that first one that was a little more dry than these, and then we'll come back and look at them when they're almost done. So I'm going to use, while they're drying, I'm going to get some tags ready to hang off of them because I think that'd be cute. And I think that was in the picture that I saw. And I'm going to use my bushel and a peck stamp set and use a couple of the sentiments off of here and just put them onto the tags with some Stays On ink. And I like the look of stamping on a raw piece of wood like this. I just think it looks kind of rustic and kind of very fallish. So I'm going to start with a bushel and a peck. I think that'll be cute to have on one of them. And we'll put it on this big one here. So I'm just going to ink this dude up. Oh, my stamp pad is so dry. We're going to try. I haven't used the Stays On in a long time. But if it's not dark, dark black, that'll be fine. I don't mind it being a little, you know, rustic looking. So I'm just going to stamp that down. I'm going to give it a minute and hope every bit of that will transfer well. It's not the worst. It's not perfect, but I'll take it. Can you see it? I think it looks pretty good. Alright, and now then, I'm going to clean this off real quick. And on this little tag, I think I'm going to use the word fall from this stamp set. I think that'll be pretty there. Again, I'm going to use the Stays On. And I have this tag going in this direction, so this time I'll have the other one going in the opposite direction. I hope that's enough. We'll see. That looks good. We'll go with that. So here's the brown one. I don't think you've seen much of the brown one today. It is dry now, and I've cleaned it up, and I think it looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but I made it myself, and I'm not going for perfect. All right, so I got some twine, and I'm just going to messily wrap this around the top, and then I'm going to come over here and tie a knot. Loosen that out one time. And I'm going to start with a knot, and then I'm going to put a tag in it. I think I am. I may end up doing no tag on the brown one because I don't know that it'll show very well. I may just do a bow and some of those stars on this one. Let's see how the bow looks. You could do so many things at this point because this is the fun part, just decorating them up and making them cute. So see, there's a bow. It's kind of big and kind of loopy. I may make it a little smaller. Okay, I'm going to trim this off down here. Trim a little of that off. I also don't like the kink this has in it from the piece that it's wrapped on. I'm going to show you something. If you take like a bone folder and rub it, you can usually rub those out or make it curl a little bit and it'll look a little bit better. That side looks better already. Let's do this one. I pulled some twine off the bottom, but I like that better. At least it didn't have those kinks in it anymore. Alright, let's see about the stars. So I got a pretty long piece here. I'm going to hold one where I want it to go in the middle and wrap the difference and just see where they land. It's wired, so it'll probably stay on pretty good by itself once I get it wrapped good. Just playing with it at first is a little difficult. So wrap there, and then here. And I'm just going to twist it around one of the stars to hold it in place. I'll let them lift up a little bit and go wherever. So there's the stars. I like that. I think that's really cute on there. So I'm going to leave that like it is. Then we're going to do the other two. And these are the ones I'm going to put the tags on. So I've got a nice long piece of twine. And this one I think I'll do in the middle. So I'm going to wrap these pieces around several times. See if I can get one more wrap. I think I can, maybe. Better pull this one out. Alright, so now I'm going to tie a knot. Just like this. Then I'm going to take one of the tags. I think I'll use this large bushel and a peck tag and tie it on. I'm going to see if I can tie it tight enough to where it'll go to the side, but if it won't, I'll show you a trick. Okay, so see how the tag is laying kind of straight down, and I really don't want that? I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a glue dot. I had somebody ask me where I got this glue dot runner. I got it at Walmart a while back, and it was in the paint section, not the crafting section. I'm going to come right over here to this side, and I'm going to put a glue dot behind it. And then I'm just going to put it where I want it. A lot of times in photography, you may not realize it, but when things don't go where they're supposed to go, they'll use a little adhesive or something to put it where it should go, and there's nothing wrong with that. So now that tag will stay out of the way. So the yellow one is done. Let's do the orange one. This time, I'm going to let this one go to this side, so that way they'll all three be kind of in a different area on the jar. Tie a little knot so that stays in place. And now I'm going to put this little fall tag on it. Again, going in the opposite direction of the last one. And then I'm going to tie a knot and then a bow, just so that'll stay. Yep, I'm going to put a little glue dot behind it just to keep it in place. Never hurts. So there is that one with the fall tag. Now I want to show you the cool part. I have these tea lights that I found at Walmart and this bag of popcorn. I actually bought 2 of the popcorn because I didn't know how much it was going to take. Now here's the thing. When you fill the popcorn up, you want to fill it to about halfway of your leaf, or at least to where you can see it coming in the leaf. So when you put your candle in, it'll sit right kind of in the center, so you'll see it when it glows. So I'm going to pour this in here, and it may get loud, so I may cut away for this, because you know how loud this can get when you're pouring into an open glass jar. But I'll show you, especially in pictures. When I do pictures, you'll really be able to see it. Let me see if I can kind of show you. See how it's kind of halfway? If I tilt it, it goes away, but it's kind of halfway. And then I'll stick a tea light in there. So the tea light will just sit in there on top of the popcorn, or you can squish it down so you can see it good. Yeah, so here they are, just sitting on my craft table with the candles lit inside, and I think they are so cute. But you'll be able to see them in pictures at the end of the video that'll be even brighter, so you can really see them. I turned the light out so you could see the candle. I think that maybe I would have used a glass paint next time. If I redo these, or if I ever do this again, I think I won't use the chalk paint on the glass. I think I'll actually use a glass paint, because I feel like this may flake off or chip off. But they are beautiful. I just love them. I'm excited to have them in my fall decor this year. And thank you guys so much for the idea. And I'll try to find the original pin and pin it below, because they may have used something differently than I did. I didn't even look at it. I should have. I might have learned something before I did what I did. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.